Now, don't get confused. This is part 7 of, I think it's part 7 of the great workshop cleanup, the massive, big, huge workshop that I've been cleaning out over the last 6 or 7 episodes. I'm in my shed though tonight to start this one. I've been processing some stuff on my bench. I'm not going to film unboxings because you see the stuff I put in boxes at the shed and I point out anything interesting, but I am going to do separate videos on this really nice old mini chest of drawers that had a lot of interesting stuff in it, including one drawer that was a graveyard for multimeters. We will do a separate episode on that down the track of what's exactly in each drawer, and I'll give the little drawers a bit of a restoration. We also will do videos on unpacking this tool chest. There was a lot of nice spanners and things in there, so we will go through that and just see how much value we got in that. Also, these planes, I've had a bit of interest on these. A lot of people have helped me with values and that. They're quite sought after, and I think I will put them all on eBay, and I will film that process and the auction results as a separate video. So I think that will be enjoyable. I also will probably do a series on eBaying the bigger stuff like the motorbikes, maybe the Honda pump. What else was there? I thought I might put that spray trailer on eBay as well, and I'll be doing that fairly shortly because that takes up a bit of room. We also picked up a 3-point linkage tractor jib, which I'll probably eBay because I think that will bring reasonable dollars. And today I was out at the shed and a guy came and picked up this 3-point linkage slasher, very rusty, but I only put $50 on it, and I threw it on Facebook Marketplace, and I had messages galore. And this first guy that messaged me came out at the appointed time, right on time, and we loaded in his trailer, and he took that away. So I got $50 back on that. So things are going pretty well. Whilst I was out there today, I did load up the ute and the trailer with some stuff. Well, actually, mostly bikes. Let's go and have a look. Now, the burning question on everyone's lips as we walk through the carport is, where are you going to put all the stuff? Well, there's a little bit coming into the carport, but I'm trying to process it as quickly as possible. And some of these boxes here, these are all from my last farm trip. So I'm not going to bring all the stuff home. There's some stuff that I'll be processing fairly soon. And of course, the good equipment I want to keep will be coming home, and I will find a proper place for that. I'm not intending to fill the emergency storage shed back up to the front. These are some boxes, and there's a tool chest that we're going to go through in a separate video at some stage. So let's go and have a look at the trailer. I just got this today, and all these push bikes were in the a garden shed beside the main workshop. And the old guy said, "Oh, you're welcome to take all those. They're probably just scrap metal." And yes, I think some of them are. But there's a couple, and someone pointed out, one of my subscribers, I forget who it was, so apologies there, but someone did point out that there's a couple of good BMX bikes. And as I actually went through it, yes, there is, and they should do pretty well. There's also this old Mobil Oil Highboy, and these are quite sought after. I'll probably give that a wash up. I'll check out prices on that. It will look cool in the shop, but I may even run that through eBay as well. That's a BMX there, and I don't know much about these. I'm going to have to do some research. Might be something worth eBaying. If I can establish a price, I might put it in the shop. And that other one there has a rather unusual frame, so I think that one might be quite good too. I think the rest of them are mostly just modern bikes, if not a lot of value. Hard rock, don't know. And what's that, an Avanti, I think. So I'm not sure on the value of those. There is an older Malvern Star here somewhere. The one at the back here doesn't have a name on it. This one, this side, I think, is that's a Repco, that one. So I don't know when they date to. That one's probably back to the 80s, I suggest. Most of them are more modern than that. There's a Malvern Star in there, you can read it on the side. So that's quite a nice bike. It's got original headlights still on it too. So that's certainly not scrap metal. And the 3-point linkage jib is lying underneath. So I think that'll get a few $100s. Also, there's another lawnmower base here. Don't think it's anything particularly valuable. That'll probably just go in the cast aluminium scrap pile, but we will assess that when I get it off the trailer. Now, as I mentioned, I have started processing some boxes of stuff. and I'm trying to deal with everything as I come across it. This was a homemade power supply. Now, I gutted it. I scrapped it out because his wiring didn't look all that professional, and I'm not prepared to sell something. Even if it tests okay, I'm not prepared to sell something that's homemade, that I can't vouch for its integrity. But I gutted that out, and that's actually going to be a good project box. I even left the ammeter in there. I may use that for something. And some of these parts, some I will keep perhaps over here. Some I will keep in my components junk box, just so I've got a stock of bits that I need or use. But some of the others, like this, is a 240 volt fan, and it's actually not just a computer fan, it's actually a cast aluminium construction. So I think that'll sell as a part. And also this transformer has secondary voltages. They're all labelled. It is in working condition. So I think I don't need to keep boxes of parts like this that I'll probably never use. If I need a transformer like this, I'll just go and buy one. But I might be able to get $10 through the shop for that transformer. Certainly much better than scrap money anyway for someone that's a home hobbyist and wants some parts. So I'm trying to process everything as I go. I'm trying to get through it fairly quickly, but I have decided that I'm going to keep all the scrap from this shed separately. So at the moment this is a bit of a mixture. We have extruded aluminium, other domestic aluminium, some transformers and chokes that can go in as electric motors. There is an electric motor there as well. A little piece of die cast that can go with the cast aluminium. I'm going to keep, and I've got a lot of brass fittings, I'm going to keep all the scrap from this shed separate, including electrical wire, because there was lots and lots of insulated copper wire. There's cords off things. There was heaps of wire. So it'd be really interesting, I think, to save it all and keep it separate and weigh it up from this shed and just see how much scrap metal we actually get from this one deal, as far as value goes, as far as return. Of course, I don't have to save it as in pile it up in one spot until I finish the shed. Once I get 10 kilos of a certain type of scrap metal, I'll make a note somewhere, I'll keep a running tally, and then it can go into my normal stores, of which I'm planning to do a trip to Melbourne at some stage fairly soon, because remember, we've got a lot of brass and stuff from the farm too. So I think I'll just keep track of it from this deal, purely for interest's sake. I know a lot of you do a bit of scrapping, and it's always interesting to see how much value you can get out of one shed cleanup. So that'll be interesting. Just another little sideline to this video series. Something else I'm going to put aside as I find it is just random remotes. That must be a vintage one, probably 1980s, being Tandy. Battery covers. Often you find things that are missing their battery covers. So when I find a random battery cover in a box, I'll keep it for now, because it may well suit something that comes out of the shed. Once we've finished the entire shed and processed everything, I don't know that I'll necessarily keep a box of random battery covers, but there's a good chance that that's going to be required. There's also a schematic diagram here for something electronic. I'll keep that in case the item turns up. There's a Suzuki sticker. I think there's some more stickers and badges somewhere. I might be able to make a group of those. So as I'm sorting, I will be keeping things that might be a part of something else. Whereas anything else that I want to keep, like I'm going to put this project box aside, will just go straight into my shed. It will be absorbed into my stock, and there won't be any record of that as far as sales go. But I will be selling a lot of stuff. I don't plan on keeping everything. I just don't have the room. Just a few random electronic parts. And we're going to find more components as well. All the hardware, I have also already said that I'm going to re-jar up. So we'll have jars full to sell as hardware through the shop, which does quite well. There's also fuses and also other bits and pieces. So there we go. The process of sorting has begun. Now on Sunday, which is only a couple of days away, it's Friday now, I have someone coming to get that huge big workbench, the big 10.5 feet by 4 feet big table in the middle of the shed. I put it on Facebook Marketplace. I put it on there for $100, and one local person, in fact I had two people wanting it, but the first person said absolutely, definitely, we'll be there Sunday with some strong friends and we will happily take it and pay $100. So happy with that. So that's a 100% strike rate from Facebook Marketplace so far, which is pretty unheard of. But the slash is gone, the workbench is gone. Admittedly, they're cheap, and that's the whole thing when you're clearing out, when you're liquidating. You need to have realistic prices. Don't hang out for top dollar. It just makes the whole deal complicated and drawn out, and I don't have the luxury of that time. So we'll hopefully get a little bit of footage of that table disappearing on Sunday, so we'll catch you then. And there she goes, the big workbench is leaving the property. We did have troubles with trying to get the trailer close enough to the shed, but we managed to roll the table upside down on pine logs and got it up to the trailer. Back in the shed. Look at the space now. So I'm not going to do much more today. It is Sunday. I'm supposed to be at the shop. Christine's manning the fort. But I will just put a few extra boxes in the van while I'm out here. And I've started cleaning up just along this bench here. Now, in my last video, there was a little bit of discussion in the comments about this old console radio and how David Tipton might like to do it up. David runs a channel concerning vintage radio repairs. He does an awesome job. He's one of the most meticulous repair guys I've ever seen. So David, if you'd missed the comments and you are interested in this console radio, it's a freebie for you. It is a hot point, assuming this is the radio out of the cabinet. So anyway, yeah, I guess getting the thing up to Queensland would be the biggest hurdle, and of course the space in your workshop. What else was mentioned in the last video? Someone advised me that this is probably, I think this was the piece they were referring to, was possibly the guard for the bandsaw. Now, it is a similar colour, but I can't for the life of me see how it would fit here, unless it's a part of the guard and it's been cut down for something else, just for the sheet tin. It has got hinges on it, so it's probably a guard off something, but I can't see how it would fit on here, so I reckon some of this sheet tin's been cut off it for another job. So anyway, I'll probably investigate that a bit further, but thanks for picking that up. That's why you guys are paid what you are, to keep an eye out on my videos and point out things I might have missed. Maybe I should give you a pay rise. Okay, what else? Yeah, we've just got some mostly empty large trunks. There's a few things in them like lawnmower engines and various bits and pieces, but it won't take long to clean this up. The backbench is staying, as I've mentioned. Someone pointed out, they said, is that a round kerosene heater down the back? Well, it looks like it is. I don't know that I've seen a round one myself. Maybe I have. Maybe it's not that old. So we'll get that out probably next trip. I won't take it this time. In the corner we have some lawnmower catchers full of wasps' nests by the looks of them. That's a pretty old catcher down the bottom actually. So yeah, that's possibly off the Kero burner. And maybe that one. Anyway, there's just a jumble along these benches again to clean up, so I'll start boxing them up. Oh, someone else mentioned, and I keep forgetting all you guys' names because there's so many of you comment and help me regularly. Someone did suggest with these old saws that, I think the word was, when they're rounded through the handle but flat on the top and you can see a line, they're probably more 1950s. He was talking about dating them, whereas the earlier ones, sort of 1920s and back a bit, are totally round. That one's almost totally round. And I think the shape of the handle varies a bit too. You tend to get this more scrolly type look, whereas the ones that are much more flat and then just slightly round are more modern saws. So that's interesting. I just generally sort of look at the shape. You can usually tell that's a really nice handle actually. So these are probably 1920s or so, and they will sell quite well. Looks like the guards off the bench grinder here. So we'll pack all these up next trip. There's some more electrical wire. And I have to get a bit of paint to get rid of. I did take home a box full of aerosol cans and they were all very old and totally... Oh, they still had paint in them, but there was no gas left in them, so I will have to dispose of all those properly. So, yeah, all right, I think that'll do for now. I better get back to the shop. I'll just pick up a few more boxes to put in the van and we'll call this episode finished. So thanks for tuning in for another episode, guys. I think this is episode 7, and I will be back here. It's actually Sunday as I'm filming this. I'll be back here probably Tuesday morning. I'm hoping to have Steve, my son, and Dean, a friend, to come and help because we have to load the lathe and the pedestal drill behind me. And I think that's all. There's not much heavy. Or maybe this workbench over in the corner. Can we see that? That nice heavy workbench I do want to put in the shop. I have had clearance from Christine. We've just got to make some room. I'll probably take it to the car wash and actually pressure wash it first so it's nice and clean for the shop. So we'll finish this one up here. Thanks for watching again. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.